Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest aliens and UFOs video, continuing the popular trend associated with talking about scary and unique encounters that people have had with aliens and UFOs. I thought I would make another video here. This one once again comes from the reddit.com website, there from the subreddit called The Truth Is Here. This one may or may not be necessarily a scary encounter, but it is still a very memorable one, and one that those of you that love these encounter videos will definitely love hearing. By the way, if you have a chance, I would definitely recommend checking out that subreddit, The Truth Is Here. You'll see many more stories associated with other types of encounters that people have had with that phenomenon. But in this case, the actual title is The Creature of North Carolina, and then it comes from a user by the name of Dr. Drexen, PhD. So let's go ahead and let's share their unique encounter here, and then I'll post my own thoughts afterward. So here's essentially what they wrote. When I was in my early 20s, I experienced a supernatural event that to this day has left me shaken to my core and believing we are truly not alone in this universe. This happening occurred during the early 2010s in the late of night. I was living with a relative along the eastern coast of North Carolina at the same time that I was going to college. I had been playing Call of Duty Black Ops with a few friends online, and I was starting to get a little tired, but I had remembered I had asked to go out and then pick up some milk. And so I knew that the local Harris Teeter grocery stores were always open 24 hours, 7 days a week, so leaving my house at 1 a.m. to grab the milk was a non-issue. I grabbed my keys and wallet before throwing on my shoes and stepping out onto the front porch. Now, to give some context, my relatives lived in a cul-de-sac. There was about 150 feet of pavement from the circle to the adjoining road. At the beginning of the circle, there was a street lamp that glowed a pale orange, and beneath this lamp, lining one of the neighbor's properties, were some large palm trees. Specifically, they were sago plant palms that were roughly about 5 feet high, practically a massive bush. And from the front porch, you can see the street light and palms without turning your head much to the right. With that being said, I stepped out onto the porch that fateful night and then suddenly came to a halt. Something compelled me to stop. I was suddenly filled with a paralyzing fear I've never experienced before and haven't since. I was quite literally frozen in place, not even 2 steps out of the door. I only stood there for maybe 10 seconds, but it felt like ages. And so I looked over to the street lamp where the palm stood and didn't see anything at first. But suddenly, from behind the closest palm to the lamp sprung a tall creature. I only saw a quick glimpse of it, but it quickly fled off into the darkness and then right out of view. I heard it give a cry that kind of sounded like a raccoon chittering or a pig squealing at the same time. And then just as quickly as this creature had appeared, it had disappeared without a trace. And so I have a friend who is a huge supernatural believer, and you can bet he was the first person I had called after this event. One of the first questions was, what did it look like? And I told him this. The creature was just slightly taller than the palm that it hid behind. It was a pale white humanoid, but it was missing a head. It was too thin and gangly to have been a human or ape of any kind, and it seemed to be covered in light hair. There was, however, one single thing that I couldn't get my mind off of. Even to this day, it sends a chill down my spine and causes my hands to tremble. When I was standing on that porch, when I felt that fear take hold of me, there was no other feeling I had when I finally looked over. I was about to die. Whatever this creature was, its intent was hostile. I am truly convinced to this day that this thing wanted to harm me. Something saved me that night from walking blatantly straight into the dark. I don't know if it was instinct or some unknown force, but I will never forget my first and only encounter with the creature of North Carolina. And then that's it. That's essentially everything that comes from this user, Dr. Drexen, PhD. So lots of good info to talk about. I always love it when the encounters have some good, detailed stories like this that create a good picture of the area, especially. So in this case, it happened there in North Carolina, in the eastern coast. I think I've mentioned that before in one of my other videos involving North Carolina, but those of you that live around that area, let me know if there's huge activity associated with aliens or UFOs. But yes, once again, it happened in the dead of night. It makes total sense. If they were going out for milk, that they would try to go to a grocery store that was open 24/7. But lo and behold, as soon as they did so, that's when that sixth sense kicked in when it came to their surroundings. I love that picture that the guy was painting too about that street lamp off in the corner, let's say at the front of the cul-de-sac, glowing that orange glow when it comes to its street light. And then all of a sudden, that palm, which would have been highlighted even more so because that lamp or that light would have been shining down upon it, immediately brought his attention to it, and then in turn, having this thing. And then what a unique looking thing, no? Obviously, the first thought that came to my mind was it could have been just your standard gray, but grays have those big bulbous heads. This was not something along those lines. In fact, it didn't even have a head. It has basically just a long, thin body, something along those lines. And then it was really gangly looking. And then it seemed to have this light hair associated with it. What do you guys think? What kind of creature could this be when it comes to something like that? And then the fact that this thing just sprinted off immediately into the darkness. Who knows where it went? I'm guessing it just went somewhere behind, maybe like in the street across from it, and then who knows if it was there. It reminded me of my last story that I covered with regards to these creatures that were associated with some forests out there. I'm wondering if that's the same situation here, but in any case, it just disappeared right into the blue, but not before this guy experienced that really dark sensation as far as this thing apparently being very hostile towards him. That's a first too. Normally, when we're talking about grays, potential grays, or some other type of alien, they're usually in the sense that they're there to create a peaceful environment. They're there to create peace, like when it comes to giving people thoughts about how humanity can be helped and so on. Or B, they're there to be experimented on, to do experiments on the people themselves, but at the same time, you hardly hear about any kind of very horrific circumstances. No, in this case here you have something that is absolutely just was giving him the ultimate heebie-jeebies, something that was just absolutely about to kill him. Now that's still left out of context if that's 100% true. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this could potentially be a scary encounter, but from that dude's perspective, absolutely, like the hostile intention that he got from this creature, whatever it was, definitely made it more memorable. But that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about this experience? Again, some of you there in North Carolina, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Maybe even if you have a clue as to what type of creature this is, this type of alien, then I'd love to hear about those comments too. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.